Narcissists often have a cycle. Hey there, I'm Ben Taylor. I'm a narc in recovery, and I'm on here trying to promote awareness, growth, healing, and change to people out there. I try to work with people who have narcissism tendencies and to get them into counseling, to get them into therapy, and help them cut through the lies that they believe and help them cut through the lies that they have in their life so they can start being honest about themselves, so they can start being honest about what's going on in their life, so they can get into therapy and try to start over and try to learn to deal with the things that they've been dealing with for years. I also work with people who have dealt with narcissistic abuse, people that are trapped in a relationship, or people that don't know how to heal once they've gotten out of one. My goal, like I said, is to promote awareness, growth, healing, and change. And I'm trying to do that across any platform, trying to do that with one-on-one meetings with people via Zoom, anything like that. That's really what I'm here for. So with a narcissist, a lot of times you'll see and you'll have like a cycle that develops. For me, my cycle developed early on in my high school years as I was finishing up middle school, going into high school. And what I started noticing is just an infatuation of like always having to have someone in my life. Like typically a girl, typically someone that I was with or like a partner with or whatever it might be. And I would notice that I would want that validation. I would like need that to be able to feel whole, to be able to feel whatever I needed to feel. So as a result, I would get in a relationship and that relationship would continue. And over a period of time, I would start to notice that it would start to disappear. It would start to fade away. There would be arguments and frustrations and all this type of stuff that would push me away, be like, oh, like this isn't working out. See, at the time, I blamed it all on them. And at the time, I blamed it all on, there must be, these people must just not like me, or maybe there's something wrong with me, or whatever it might be, but like I'm the victim here because all these people keep leaving me. What was happening was I was getting to the place where I was starting to be controlling, demanding. I was starting to exemplify those narcissistic traits on the relationship as that mask would slowly start to fade and slowly start to fall off. As a result, what would happen is those relationships would normally start coming to an end. Now, being perceptive, a lot of times I could tell when they were going to come to an end. I could start to sense it. I could start to feel it. And a lot of time it's because I was the one putting that vibe out there. I was the one that was starting to destroy the relationship from the inside. As it would happen, then you'd start to see me get involved with someone else. I'd start to get attracted to someone else, or I'd start communicating to someone else and start talking more. And it would all start off as an innocent like friendship, and then it would continue on until all of a sudden I'm in another relationship. Oftentimes those relationships were crisscrossing, or one was disappearing while the other one was starting, a lot of times in tandem. Narcissists often have this happen in their lives a lot, where a lot of times there is a new supply that they're getting right as they're finishing up with an old supply, or right as an old supply is starting to realize who they're actually dealing with. That's when the narcissist is starting to go to someone else that they can blindside and they can gaslight to the point where the other person thinks they're the best thing ever. And they can continue to be with that person and be able to get supply while the old supply is leaving or depleting or whatever it might be. So with this, I thought for a period of time that this is just how it was. I'd get with a girl, start to fade away, get with another girl, start to fade away, and just continued on and on and on. So for a period of time, I thought, okay, maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll change after I get married. So I went through the steps of dating, the engagement, and then I got married. After about a year of that same old cycle starts kicking back in. That same old like wanting supply, wanting validation from someone else, feeling like the current supply is not enough, and then going towards someone else. And so as a result, as those same arguments and fights and everything start up in the relationship, I'm starting to go towards another person. And this is what started off some of the cheating that happened in my marriage that ultimately hurt my marriage and hurt my wife. During this time, I got to the place where I thought I was cursed. I literally thought there was like a curse or like something inside me that was just broken. And I was destined to repeat this cycle and to continue on no matter what. Like there was no way I was going to stop it. It was just, this is just going to happen every year, every 2 years, whatever it would be. There's going to be this cycle that's going to continue to happen. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. I thought I was cursed. I thought there was forces and powers outside of me that were making this a reality. Again, because I didn't want to take responsibility. I didn't want to be honest about what was going on. And I didn't want to hold myself accountable to the things that I'd done, to the people that I'd hurt, to the people that I'd been with, to the marriage and wife that I had been destroying. As a result, that cycle continued. That cycle kept growing and kept continuing until it got bigger and bigger. Till it got to the place where it was longer, or I was with other people, or with more people, or whatever it might be, that would continue to feed that supply. Because as a narc, you're normally looking for the next high, the next thing. So as the supply depletes, you're looking for another one. As the supply starts to fade, you're looking for additional supply. And you get to the place where you start lying and having all these disconnected lives with everybody because you're continually trying to find more and other ways to be able to meet a void that you just can't meet. So as a narc, I got into that cycle. I kept going into that cycle. Marriage didn't fix that cycle. I continued in that cycle even after, and would end up being just one cycle after another, except after marriage, then I was going through cheating and through adultery. And that's really what ultimately hurt my marriage and hurt my relationship with my wife. So the only way to be able to get to the place where I stopped the cycle, as I had some great advice given to me years ago by someone, is when I told them I felt like I was in a cycle, they said, break the cycle. Very simple words, but stuff that I would remember all throughout my life. I was told this about 20 years ago, really, and someone said, break the cycle. And so the only way to break the cycle of this whole wheel of lies and cheating and affairs and things like that was to be honest, and is to be honest about where I was at. Now, to be real with you, like at the very beginning when I was first honest, there was a part of me that was honest thinking, maybe if I'm honest, my wife will leave me and I can continue doing what I want to do. But I also knew that if that happened, I wouldn't be able to continue what I wanted to do, because if I did, I would just be back in that cycle. But you see, most narcs aren't going to want to admit that. Most narcs might be frustrated at times with the cycle, but they never know how to get out because they don't know how to be honest. Being honest is a prerequisite to building trust, is a prerequisite to living a life that's not filled with cheating, with manipulation, with gaslighting, with all this type of stuff. And a narc won't do that. And as a result, they'll continue each day, each month, each year in this cycle. That'll continue on, whether that's going from girl to girl, or whether that's going from supply to supply, whether that's going from abuse, from mental to emotional to physical. Like, you'll see a cycle that'll keep forming day in, day out with the narcissist. And the problem is they won't get to the place where they can actually admit that they're in a cycle or break it until they're willing to admit the truth. Unfortunately, you can't really go up to them and say, admit that you're in a cycle, or tell them that they're a narcissist, because most of the time that won't bode well for you, and it'll end up hurting you, or it'll end up accelerating whatever type of abuse is going on. So whatever you do, get some counsel, think about it, figure out how you can leave, how you can go no contact if that's the type of relationship that you're in, and focus on your growth and your healing.